Alright, imagine this. It's 2 a.m. You're in bed, phone in hand. A notification pings. Boosted odds, your team's 2x payout if they score in the first half. You click. You tap. You place a bet. $5 turns into 20. Or nothing. Either way, your heart races. Now rewind a few decades. Gambling used to be something people did in smoky casinos or racetracks, maybe a neighborhood poker night, or the occasional trip to Vegas. But now, it's a swipe away. Embedded in our phones. Wrapped in flashy colors, dopamine triggering alerts, and carefully engineered design. It's not just entertainment anymore, it's a $500+ billion global industry. But here's the question. Why is gambling growing so fast? And maybe more importantly, why is it getting harder to avoid? Let's unpack it. The digital revolution. In the past, you had to go somewhere to gamble. Today, gambling comes to you. The explosion of online gambling platforms, mobile apps, fantasy sports, and crypto casinos has completely transformed the landscape. You don't need chips or cash, you need a login, a credit card, and a pulse. In 2025, you can bet on sports, slots, roulette, virtual horse racing, even elections, without ever leaving your couch. The line between gaming and gambling is blurring too. Loot boxes in video games. Pay-to-win mechanics. Casino-style games disguised as harmless fun. And the kicker? These platforms aren't just about placing bets. They're about keeping you engaged, daily streaks, reward systems, live updates, and notifications designed to lure you back. This isn't random. It's behavioral psychology, on steroids. Addiction by design. Let's talk about the science of addiction. At its core, gambling addiction taps into the brain's reward system. It's the anticipation, the what if, that keeps people hooked. Win or lose, your brain releases dopamine. That's the same chemical triggered by drugs, sugar, or social media likes. Slot machines, for instance, use what's called a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. That means rewards come unpredictably, like a jackpot after 7 or 77 or 707 spins. This randomness is addictive. Your brain constantly chases the next hit, even if the last 10 were losses. Now apply that model to an app that's with you 24/7. You can see how the risk, and the profit, skyrockets. Marketing meets manipulation. It doesn't stop at access. The gambling industry spends billions on marketing, targeting people where they're most vulnerable, during sports games, on YouTube, in-app ads, on TikTok. Influencers promote betting codes. Promos flash risk-free bets. And the messaging is almost always the same. Just a little fun. Just one more game. You could win big. But here's the twist, those risk-free bets often aren't risk-free at all. They're engineered to get you to deposit money and come back, even after you lose. And with personalized algorithms, platforms know exactly when you're most likely to return. They analyze your betting habits. They predict when you're likely to relapse. And they send you offers at the precise moment your willpower is low. This isn't entertainment, it's engineering. Global expansion and legal loopholes. Why is gambling growing so fast globally? One word, deregulation. Countries are loosening laws to cash in on tax revenue. Sports betting, once illegal in the US outside Nevada, is now legal in over 30 states. In the UK, gambling is part of the culture. Sports teams are sponsored by betting firms, and it's regulated but widely available. In Asia and Africa, mobile-first betting platforms are booming thanks to smartphone penetration and underregulated markets. It's a gold rush, and companies are racing to grab as much ground and data as possible. And while governments do introduce safeguards, self-exclusion programs, age checks, deposit limits, these often lag behind the pace of tech. Sports betting and the rise of microbets. Let's zoom in on sports betting. It used to be you'd bet on who would win. Now, you can bet on who scores first, how many yellow cards, whether a corner kick happens in the next 5 minutes. These are called microbets, and they've exploded in popularity, especially among younger users. Why? Because they mimic the pace and dopamine spikes of video games. They're fast, frequent, and make you feel in control, even when you're not. And they create a dangerous illusion: the more you bet, the more fun you're having. But the real winner? The platform. Crypto gambling and the Wild West. And then there's crypto. Crypto casinos are growing fast, offering anonymity, fast transactions, and minimal regulation. You can gamble with Bitcoin, Ethereum, or obscure altcoins. These platforms often exist in legal gray zones, making it harder to track, tax, or regulate. Some even use their own tokens, encouraging users to stay inside the ecosystem, win or lose. And because crypto already carries high risk and volatility, it's the perfect partner for an industry that thrives on high-stakes emotion. Who gets hurt? Statistically, most people who gamble do so recreationally. But for a significant minority, millions globally, it spirals into addiction, debt, depression, or worse. Studies show gambling addiction has one of the highest suicide attempt rates of any addiction. And the industry? Often turns a blind eye. Because it's the whales, the big spenders, who fund the system. And these whales are often the most vulnerable. Final thoughts. At its core, gambling promises a shortcut to something we all crave: freedom, excitement, escape. It's sold as entertainment, but it taps into some of our deepest psychological vulnerabilities. It gives us hope, then monetizes it. But what's more disturbing is how normalized it's become. Teenagers placing bets on football matches during halftime. Office workers refreshing slot apps during lunch breaks. Entire Twitch streams dedicated to crypto slots. We've moved from gambling is risky to everyone's doing it. And that shift didn't happen naturally, it was designed. We're living in a world where risk is a commodity, where our attention is mined and our emotions are monetized. And gambling sits at the center of that business model. It doesn't just sell the dream, it sells just enough wins to keep you chasing the next one. And here's the truth we don't like to admit. Some people will never win. Not because they're unlucky, but because the system isn't built for them to win. It's built to keep them playing. The reality is this: for every viral story of a big win, there are thousands suffering in silence. People chasing losses, maxing out credit cards, lying to loved ones, hiding the damage behind a screen. And we don't talk about them nearly enough. This isn't about saying don't gamble. It's about asking why we've made it so seductive, so easy, so unavoidable. Because if we don't question the design, we'll keep mistaking the trap for a game. We need stronger protections, better education, more transparency. We need to rethink what we're calling just harmless fun before it becomes something far more serious. And maybe most of all, we need to remember: the house always wins. And the longer you play, the more you're playing by their rules, not yours. And hey, if you found this breakdown insightful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ever said, just one more bet. We've got more long-form explorations coming, unpacking the systems that shape our lives, the illusions we chase, and the consequences we often ignore. Stay curious. Stay grounded. And I'll see you in the next one.